Chaychay's treehouse, a happy space of stories and play. Chaychay's treehouse, a little home high up above. A dream garden, a wonder place, on top of a beautiful tree. She writes, she paints, oh Chaychay, like her name, a sweetheart she is. Explore concepts from all around, and Uncle Katie, full of life, answers their questions through songs and smile. Chaychay's treehouse, a happy space of stories and play. Chaychay's treehouse, a little home high up above. The party awaits with surprise guests. They talk, they teach, they work together just like a team. Ooh. Chaychay wants to be this, Chaychay wants to be that. Sometimes an artist, sometimes a chef. Chaychay's treehouse welcomes all for a joyride.
Choco, what's that now? Will you put away that pad? It's reading time.
And anyone who doesn't follow the rules of Chaychay's treehouse shall be sent into exile.
Whatever, Chaychay. And Aja, I am reading.
Yes, but you're using a pad. That's not the same thing as reading from a book. See, there's something special about actually reading a book. You know, the weight of it, the texture of it, you know, the musty smell of ink and paper, you know, and the feeling of turning a page that many others have turned before you and many others will after you. There's something very personal about reading from a book, and that no electronic device can give you.
All right. Here, now I'm reading an actual book.
Someday, many years down the road, you will thank me for this. Look, now don't get me wrong. I don't have anything against electronic devices. It's just that, you know, some stories are better told through books.
Aja, stories are so beautiful. I love Disney. They tell the best stories.
And I really like Korean dramas.
Hold on now. With due respect to K-drama and to Disney, I mean, they're both wonderful stuff, but you cannot forget about our Bhutanese stories.
Aja, you can't seriously be comparing the two.
Of course I can't compare the two. Look, as engaging and interesting as, you know, your K-dramas may be, they cannot compare to our age-old stories because they're like entirely different things. That's like comparing chalk and cheese.
Aja, I want to write stories.
Really? I'm happy to hear that.
But Aja, I don't know what to write. How does one think of a story?
Well, stories are all around us.
Yes, I drama teacher says the same thing. Stories are around, and so are the characters.
But around me, I mostly have you two and the treehouse. So, am I supposed to write a story about the treehouse?
Well, sure. Why not?
But that story, my story, it will be so silly. It will be nothing like Disney.
I definitely second that.
The two of you are sadly underestimating your own creativity. You're underestimating the power of the stories that you can tell inspired by your surroundings.
Our surroundings? You mean Bhutan? Whatever.
I don't even know how to get started.
Well, in my drama class, we do something like, how do I put it? Story building.
Ah, you mean like where one person starts it off with one line and then the next person adds the next part of the story?
Exactly.
Ah, let's do that then. Chaychay, you understand what we're saying? You get it?
Yes, kinda.
All right then. Come, huddle around. Let's do this. Come.
Let's go. Take a seat, take a seat.
Okay, so then, Chunku, why don't you start?
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Once upon a time, there was a treehouse.
Where there lived a girl, Dicky, kind and beautiful.
And she had Ajim and an uncle.
She had an Ajim and an uncle. All right.
Well, one day she was reading.
And while she was reading, suddenly there was loud, thunderous noise.
Aja, don't say such things. You don't have to talk about the sounds.
Chaychay, a story has to have something like this. It has to be, interesting.
Yes, every good story needs conflict.
A conflict? What's a conflict?
It's a problem or an obstacle, basically.
Very good, Chunku. I'm glad they've introduced drama classes in your school. Now, Chaychay, you like The Lion King, right? What's the story about?
Oh, it's about Simba, the lion cub, losing his father. Then his mean uncle Scar tries to kill him as well. But with the help of his friends and the old monkey Rafiki, he comes back and defeats Scar and becomes the king.
Very good. Now, when you were telling us about The Lion King, you were telling us about all the problems that Simba had. You weren't just saying, oh, it was about this cute lion cub somewhere in the savannah, right?
Oh yeah, and the Beauty and the Beast. If the Beast doesn't find his true love within the last petal drops, then he'll be a beast forever. And Po from Kung Fu Panda, if he doesn't believe and brings the scroll, then Tai Lung will take over the kingdom.
Yes, Chaychay, you've got it. If we don't stop her, she'll keep on going about each and every single story.
Right. Okay, so let's continue then. So, where were we? While she was reading, she heard this strange noise.
It was the guardian spirit of the tree that had appeared.
The guardian spirit of the tree. Oh, very good.
And Dicky was really, really shocked and scared, so she started yelling. So her Ajim and Aja came running.
They had been out farming?
But when Dicky explained that the guardian spirit had appeared,
well, they didn't believe her at first.
Okay.
But when she pointed at the tree, they were shocked to see the guardian spirit was there.
And the spirit gave them a special seed and said, if you sow this, it'll give you beautiful fruit.
Yes, and you can sell those fruits and live a good life for yourself.
Excellent.
And the half of it must be given to the poor and hungry people.
And saying so, the spirit disappeared.
Yes, but all of this was heard by their neighbor who was really greedy.
A penjo.
Yeah.
A penjo. So yes, a penjo overheard it. Then
Oh yes, and the greedy neighbor Appenjor stole all the seeds given by the spirit.
And then he grew beautiful fruits like those that have never ever been seen before.
and then he sold all of the fruit and made a whole lot of money.
But the problem was, he stole the seeds, but didn't listen to the spirit's instructions. So when he got home, the money turned into stones.
So you're saying that he didn't follow the spirit's orders and he did not share all of the fruit, so all the money turned into stone. Brilliant.
Yes.
See, there. Haven't we told such a fascinating story? And that also Bhutanese with our values.
Yes, it's good, but we also need to make it look good, like Disney. I love Disney. They're so good to look at.
It's the same thing with K-dramas. They're so amazing to look at. The makeup, the clothes, the actors, the stories. It's just, the overall production value. Unfortunately, we don't have that here in Bhutan. Not the actors or the makeup or the stories or the idols.
It's like I told you, Chunko, a while ago. You cannot make that comparison. That's like comparing chalk and cheese. They're entirely different things. And I need to tell both of you, my lovely munchkins, that you're both sadly mistaken. Bhutan has produced so many heroes. And we have so many stories, ancient stories, some of which would make you, be filled with a sense of wonderment. And come on, some of our greatest heroes are the kings of the Watch dynasty. His Majesty the Fourth King, for example, became the king at the very tender age of 17. Now, isn't that a fascinating start to an interesting story?
Well, that is.
There you go. And what about His Majesty the King himself? He is a living legend. He creates history every day.
Well, I've never looked at it as a story.
Oh, and our dear beloved Gyaltse and his new baby brother, our new prince. I'll write a story about them.
Yes, Chaychay. See, we're Bhutanese. And every culture, every country has beautiful stories to tell and share. So shouldn't we be telling these stories? These stories that we've heard, felt, and lived?
But we don't have any princess stories like Disney has.
Well, in that case, let me tell you the most wondrous fairy tale story. I have just a song. Where did I? Okay, here we go. Can you hold this down, my dear?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think it would be better if we just... Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Here we go then. Well, I have the lyrics, but it needs a tune, so let's see. All right, okay. We have a tune then.
Okay, we're ready to listen.
All right.
ears.
Hold it up for me, young lady. I don't see that very well. I don't see it too well now.
Okay.
Okay, hold it up. Okay. Here we go then. He said she is beautiful, young but kind and wise. A moment lingered and he smiled. I found my bride? She was only 21 when he asked, will you be my queen? She looked up with a gentle smile, and he crowned and he held her chin. Shall I kiss her? He said, shall I kiss her? Yes, your majesty, they said. He kissed her once, he kissed her twice. This is the story of a king's love and life. One more time. This is the story of a king's love and life. Higher, higher. This is the story of a king's love and
Asha, isn't this the story of our king and queen?
You know what? It is. And the fairy tale continues, because that is just the beginning.
We're part of the fairy tale. It's even better than Disney. Asha, let's sing once more.
All right, my little princess, your wish is my command. You remember the tune now?
Uh-huh.
He said she is beautiful, young but kind and wise. A moment lingered and he smiled. I finally found my bride. She was only 21 when he asked, will you be my queen? He looked up
With a gentle smile,
and he crowned and held her chin. Shall I kiss her? Shall I kiss her? He said. Yes, your majesty, they said. He kissed her once, he kissed her twice. That is the story of a king's love and life. Together?
Yes.
That is the story of a king's love and life. One more time. That is the story of a king's love and life. You certainly gave it a lot of expression this time. Thank you. All right, now. Chaychay, Chunku,
Yup-a-doodle.
I need to tell you that today for your tea party, I have invited somebody very, very special.
Oh, who's joining us for the tea party today?
Oh, just set up the tea party. She should be here any time soon, so just set it up.
Okay.
And I'll tell you.
Come on.
Okay. I'll put the thing special.
So, she is an eminent member of parliament.
Really?
Yes, of the National Council, in fact. Just one of 5 personally hand-selected by His Majesty the King.
Wow. Who is she?
Her name is Amkyazang Chukidoji.
Oh, I know her. I've seen her on TV.
Right. And you know the best part? She's a storyteller, a documentary filmmaker. And she's a day soup as well.
Wow.
Yeah, set up.
Please stay there.
So this is the most talked about Chaychay's treehouse.
Kuzamla.
Kusambo.
Thank you for coming. The kids would really appreciate it. Please have a seat.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, this is Chaychay and that's Chunku.
Very nice to meet you both.
It's nice to meet you too.
Thank you for coming in my treehouse today. So, today, Ajay explained and taught me a lot about telling stories today. And that too, about Bhutan, what I see around. And he said, you're also a storyteller. Why did you want to tell stories of Bhutan? Who were your characters?
That's a great question. I actually started my career as a filmmaker, and I started working at the BBS about 20 years ago. And Aja may remember, in 1999 on June 2nd, for the Silver Jubilee coronation anniversary, I don't know if you were at Chanlimitang ground
I would
that
have been
day.
there.
when His Majesty the Great Fourth announced that television and internet would be introduced for the first time in the country, everyone was very excited. I don't think we realized at that time, though, what a life-changing moment that was going to be. And now you both will, I'm sure, agree with me. Both television and especially the internet is something that we can't do without, right? So those days, back when television started, BBS was only broadcasting 1 hour a day. And they started expanding their airtime. And when they did that, they needed more local TV programs. And that's actually when I discovered my interest and my love of making documentary films. And I wanted to tell stories about people doing incredible things. And you know, here in Bhutan, there are so many interesting people, and people have always fascinated me. So along my long journey in documentary filmmaking, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of fantastic people, I'd say.
Whoa, but that's so different from being a member of parliament. And you're a Desup as well.
Yes, I'm a very proud Desup. And I became a Desup first before becoming a member of parliament. When the program started in 2011, I really desperately wanted to sign up. But those days my children were a little young. So it wasn't actually until 2014 that when they advertised the executive program for just 2 weeks, then I quietly went and I signed up for the program and didn't tell my family until I got accepted. Lucky for me, my family was very supportive of my decision. And ever since then, I've been working alongside my Desup Nyamros, as we call them. And we're now in the thousands, and you'll see them everywhere. And all of us, we're trying to live up to the responsibility of being guardians of peace and happiness, as is envisioned by His Majesty the King. So I feel very blessed to be able to be a Desup, and it's a lifelong commitment, something that I know I will enjoy doing for a very long time, to be able to be out there volunteering and serving. But you mentioned also being a member of parliament. And initially when I received the news of my appointment, I was very surprised, and I was also very worried whether or not I would be able to live up to the expectations. But being in the National Council, being an NC member, I feel very grateful that I can also serve our country in this way.
And you were handpicked by His Majesty as well. So I guess that kind of shows that you do live up to the expectations we have.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. When I joined the National Council, I realized early on that everyone came with a different experience and from different backgrounds. And I think this really is a wonderful thing, because everyone is coming with a different perspective or view and life experience. So when you're debating and you're discussing very important issues, this really improves the discussion, the quality of the discussions that we have. Now, for example, just like in a family and you're about to make a big decision, you'll find that not everybody will agree, right? Mm-hmm. How the decision should be made. But this is where you build consensus and you try to agree and you make a decision that you feel will work for everyone. So in the National Council we have 25 members, which you know, right? So we have 25 people with very unique perspectives. But I think the one thing that all of us shares, all the National Council members shares, is that we're all very passionate. We all want to serve. And we all want to live up to the ideals of His Majesty the King and ultimately do what's best for the country.
Could you ever tell stories of any other countries? Or did you make movies about other countries?
Yes, actually. When I was working on this project called La Amlenchen, which means yes, Madam Prime Minister, that time actually it was just before the 2013 parliamentary elections, and I wanted to tell the stories of the women who were contesting in the elections, and I was following them all over the country. But one thing that we realized while we were filming this documentary was that people were still not very confident about women leaders being able to lead the country. So it was very important to show a good example of a country which had done very well with women leadership. And with the support of a Danish organization, my team and I, we were able to go to Denmark, and even there, for a country that had worked so hard for so long to get a lot of women leaders represented in decision making, they had finally, for the first time, just elected their first female prime minister. And we had that opportunity to meet the women leaders there, learn the good examples. And in that documentary, we actually showed all of this, trying to show Bhutanese people especially the value of having women leaders in decision making. Now, for example, again, in a family, when both the father and the mother are equally engaged in decision making, then you know that things will go well. So at the highest levels, even in decision making, it's important to have the views and perspectives of both women and men. And so basically through that documentary, we were trying to create that awareness. And although we don't have our first female prime minister yet, we have, of course, 2 female ministers. And I hope you will agree, both of them are doing a great job, and they are very good role models for not only our girls, but for our women as well.
Do we really live in a fairy tale kingdom? I feel like a little pixie too.
And you're a very cute pixie too. Do you know that most people around the world call Bhutan a fairy tale kingdom? Because we have a very wise and kind king and queen who care so much for our people. You know, we're very blessed, I feel, to be born as Bhutanese. And you, both of you, have the opportunity to get a very good education, to grow up healthy. And if you study hard, you work hard, you have the opportunity to realize your dreams here in our country. And you know, this is not something we can say for all countries in the world. So that way we are very, very fortunate. Now, even during this COVID-19 pandemic, you see His Majesty the King working so tirelessly, you know. People who have lost their jobs are getting financial support. People who are falling sick are getting the best treatment possible. And every Bhutanese knows, whether they're living here in the country or they're living abroad, they know that there is someone to care for them, to look after them. So we have to be very grateful for what we have. And I think what's really important is that if we want to keep it this way, you must also do your part.
So, what did I tell you earlier? This is a fairy tale kingdom. We have our own stories. And nowhere else do you have stories like we do.
But I really want to be like you. Wear a blue scarf, get chosen by His Majesty, be a disup. But how?
Well, that's very sweet of you to say. But you shouldn't want to be me. You should want to be the best versions of yourself. And you all are just starting out. You're writing your own stories. And I can already foresee that many exciting, many wonderful opportunities are coming. And I look forward to reading about and hearing about your stories as they unfold also. But if from today's conversation, if you have been inspired by my stories about being a Desup or a parliamentarian, then I'm glad. But I think one important thing that you have to remember is that if you want to serve our country, you can do it in so many different ways. You could be a storyteller. You could run a business. You could be a parliamentarian. But it all has to be what you're interested in. And when you're passionate about something, you know, then you will work with your whole heart, you know, to make that difference in society. But you know, I'm excited for the both of you, because both of you will soon be undertaking the Gelsung program when you're a little older, and you will be doing national service. So aren't you excited by that prospect? You must have heard about it, right? So one day, as you get older, in the meantime, I would recommend that you, of course, study hard, enjoy your time at school, learn lots, let your creativity just flow. And when you grow up, then whatever it is you do, just make sure that you serve our king, our country, you know, to the best of your abilities. And that's the most important thing. But some people feel that maybe only when you become adults, this is something you can do. But what I want to tell you is that at any age, you can make a difference. So I hope that the two of you will do that depending on whatever your interest is, whether you love animals or you love the environment and you want to plant trees or, grow flowers so that the country continues to look like this beautiful fairy tale kingdom that you talk about.
I'll definitely take your advice and become the best version of me that I can be.
That makes me very happy to hear. I guess I must be going now. Thank you so much for inviting me to your tree house. And remember to grow up to be strong, independent, and productive citizens of our country. Goodbye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much for coming.
I feel somewhat different, energized. I'm going to work hard and make you proud, Aja.
Me too.
I had such a hard time trying to make the two of you understand the value of our own identity and our own stories the entire time. And then, Kyazang Chuki came here and in 5 minutes, you've changed your minds. But here's what I need to tell the both of you. You both make me extremely proud anyway.
Yes.
So on that note, let's get my notepad and let's write a story.
Yes. Okay.
Gather
Chaychay,
round.
what do you want to write about?
He said she is beautiful, young but kind and wise. A moment lingered and he smiled. I found my bride. She was only 21 when he asked, "Will you be my queen?" She looked up with a gentle smile. He crowned her and held her chin.